good evening. YouTube, good evening, wonderful people of YouTube. Good evening, all of you beautiful green names in chat. All of you lovely, throbbing, massive members. And to the few grey ones in there as well. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to our Wednesday night stream, The 40K Show. If you're new here, make sure you hit all those magical buttons that YouTube loves us to talk about and get you to hit. You lot are all hitting them a lot now, actually. Like, our likes have just gone up on all the videos. That's because of you hitting that button. And it helps. It means more people get to see it. Thank you so much. You're all beautiful people. Thank you for joining us tonight. If you are new to these, well, we talk about something for 10 to 15 minutes. I'm in the process now of actually turning off super chat notifications, etc. until I've done my bit talking so I don't get interrupted. And then we will jump into chat and see what you guys think. And tonight's actually interesting. So Friday, if you watched 40K After Dark, we had a go at some of the audience out there, some of the people that seem to watch YouTube videos. We were a bit nasty to them. Why is they nasty? Maybe justified. Sunday, we talked about the new World Eaters release that they have just spoke about on Tabletop Titans on the Good Talk. Check it out on Titans if you haven't already seen that one just before this one. Otherwise, that will be available on demand, and you can go and watch our video from Sunday on demand about World Eaters. However, it was a little bit negative in places because of reasons that I won't spoil, because on that video it's worth checking it out. So tonight I thought we'd talk about something that I am very excited for, okay? And this is something that has been recently announced, and I'm oddly optimistic about it. And I say that because we often don't get to be optimistic nowadays, or quite often people are quite negative about things. We're going to talk about this, which is Games Workshop's announcement for Arks of Omen. Arks of Omen is apparently the next biggest advancement in the 40k narrative, something we love on the channel. Anyway, right, we love Arks of Omen. We love not Arks of Omen. We love advancements in narrative. We like big narrative things going on. Might give us some answers about things like Angron, etc. We'll get into that in just a minute. We're going to go through the article. We're going to talk about what it shows us, which isn't tons. We're going to talk about what we hope it is, and then I'm going to ask you guys what you hope it's going to be, how you hope it's going to play. So, the Warhammer Preview Online, the first 3 Arks of Omen books revealed. The first 3 Arks of Omen books means that there isn't just 3 Arks of Omen books, it's just these are the first 3. We already know there's going to be 4. Maybe this is something that can go on for a long time. Maybe this is something that, like the Warzone series that is released for competitive players, can keep narrative players interested and give them fresh and additional content. And what they did tell us on the preview back in October, because I remember it happened the Saturday, the first Saturday I was out in California, is they also told us that they weren't giving us individual unit rules or army upgrades like they were doing in previous narrative books. So you're not going to get certain armies for AdMech, etc. They're removing that, but how are they going to keep this interesting and fun for people and make people want to pick them up? Well, they've given us a little bit of detail so far, right? So Warhammer Preview Online, the first 3 Arks of Omen books revealed. The Emperor's Terror offers somber portents of things to come. The Arks of Omen are nigh, dredged from interstellar darkness by unknown machinations. These titanic vessels herald upheaval for the galaxy, kicking off the next big narrative arc for Warhammer 40,000. This groundbreaking series follows an unfolding story across a series of books packed with lore and game rules, and we've caught sight of the first 3. Can I play this? Will it let me play this for you guys? Is that going to copyright strike me? Fuck it, let's play it anyway. Exciting, wasn't it? It's probably copyright strikes us immediately. Oh well. Each book is named for the character it stars, with 2 names you'll definitely recognise and 1 new player in the ranks of Chaos. It follows a dark crusade against the Imperium as the galaxy slips deeper into madness. Abaddon's Bale fleets have set out to recover mysterious artifacts from all corners of the Imperium, and whatever he's planning can't be good news, as always. As long as he isn't defeated by plot armour, it's never good news. So the first book, Arks of Omen, Abaddon, right? Super exciting. Second book, Arks of Omen, Angron. So we can assume this is going to inform us as to how Angron has returned to the 41st millennium. And then Arks of Omen book number 3 is Vashtor, who looks like some new dark mechanic and priest, which has got me super, super excited. right? Super excited. The model I'm mad for as well, by the way, right? And then goes on to say, the first 3 books reignite the classic struggle between the Imperium of Man and the forces of Chaos, with the third introducing a major new character to the setting, Vashtor. The 4th book will be distinctly Xenos affair. However, we'll have more on that next year, along with news for the rest of the series. The Xenos one's got me excited because they haven't told us. It says redacted, look, Order Xenos redacted. They haven't told us who that is or what it's about. Got some thoughts on that one. The Arks of Omen series also contains rules for a new style of Warhammer 40,000 game called boarding actions. So this one's got me very excited, this piece. This self-contained expansion pits elite 500-point forces against each other in nail-biting close quarters combat, fighting through the claustrophobic confines of ship decks and space hulks. So we can assume, I don't know if it's going to give us some more of this information in a minute. It does actually. We'll get to that in just a moment. Contents. Look at the contents, right? Arks of Omen, Abaddon, The Coming of Vashtor, The Arks of Omen. So the first book has The Coming of Vashtor as one of the first chapters. That's interesting. We'll get some information about Vashtor in the first book, which is pretty cool. Got the Arks of Omen from page 22, The Unhallowed, The Reprisals, a showcase, and then we've got rules. From page 50 to page 86, we've got rules, okay? Boarding actions is page 52. Boarding action battlefields, boarding action rules, actions, boarding action stratagems, boarding action enhancements, mustering a boarding patrol, boarding action games, components, and the missions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different missions as well, which is really cool. Okay, this looks exciting. Boarding action stratagems, I don't know if I like that or not. More stratagems I'm not particularly happy about unless they restrict it. I don't know. Enhancements, it'd be interesting to see what those are. This looks like it's kind of a really toned down, really diluted crusade, but it's kind of match play focus. It's kind of what us narrative players have probably been screaming for a long, long time. I like the fact we've got board and action battlefields, board and action rules. That means they're going to be a different style of play, a different type of tabletop, which is super exciting. It then goes on. So I was like, originally when I first saw this, I was like, well, it's kind of Kill Team-ish, right? 500 points in nail-biting close quarters combat, fighting through claustrophobic confines of ship decks and space hulks. It's kind of Kill Team. And then they say, this isn't Kill Team. So I was wrong instantly. In boarding action games, whole armies will smash through doors and clear corners. The twist, there's no room for bulky monsters and war machines, nor for burning rubber down tight corridors or taking to the skies in cramped hallways. Instead, infantry and elites take centre stage, locked in a desperate battle for control. You must adapt your tactics to the close confines of a void ship, and you'll need to bring your best to survive point-blank firefights and sudden ambushes. I actually really quite like this. No bikes, no jet bikes, no monsters, no walkers, no dreadnoughts, no tanks. I'm kind of all about this. Elite infantry that isn't Kill Team, where it's model by model and you're still using squads. If that's how it works, this could be super cool. And interestingly for us on the channel, this could also make super interesting content. Right? I feel like this is definitely something we could, in fact, cover. I like the idea of using squads rather than individual models, but playing kind of Kill Team style game with a little bit more narrative. And I feel like if you're coming down to 500 points and using small squads, it gives us scope to advance narrative for individual channel-based units as well. I'm sat here today and I've been painting a Howling Banshee, and I'm very, very excited after reading this that I can stick 5 Howling Banshees, including an Exarch, inside a boarding action battlefield and start telling the story of what this Banshee is up to, what this particular Exarch is doing, names, etc. Because it's 500 points, right? It seems more interesting to me personally anyway. It's a nice image there from the Warhammer community page. These games of Warhammer 40,000 will be fully compatible with the Space Hulk terrain found in sets like Kill Team Shadow Vaults, which will soon be seeing a standalone release. I may have bought 3 sets of Kill Team Shadow Vaults, mostly for the terrain and for the Carsakins, because we've given some Carsakins to Joe to add to the Valhallans, and I've got some for myself, because this terrain is frankly beautiful. And then goes on, this series is a must-have for fans of Warhammer 40,000 lore and gameplay. I like Arks of Omen Abaddon will be out before Christmas is an important part. So now's the time to think about mustering a boarding patrol of your own. In the meantime, head back to the hub page and check out everything else revealed today, which we won't do because we've done some of that anyway. That's the article. That is Arks of Omen in a very small nutshell, obviously. That's what they've given us so far. I find it very, very interesting as a concept. We're talking about essentially playing kill team, not kill team, and using units. We're talking about removing vehicles and monsters, but they haven't said anything about restricting the type of infantry units you can take. So you can take all of your elite infantry, all of your heavy support infantry, all of your fast attack infantry. I'm guessing if it says you can't fly down a corridor, you won't be able to have jump pack troops, etc., but I don't know. I'm guessing you can have access to all your HQ choices and stuff as well. I think this sounds wildly exciting. My hope is that what they don't do is overcomplicate the rule set so that the rule set then ends up layering onto the current rule set with all of its rules included. Oh, what was that? I think that was Siri shouting at me in my pocket. It was. Go away. So I hope they don't layer it on top of the current rule set. Phone interrupted me. That currently exists, because that probably be too many rules for just 500 points. But think about what you can get in 500 points with your respective army, okay? A Space Marine force, you could have a Librarian or a Captain, you could have a unit of Intercessors, a unit of Blade Guard, maybe some Eradicators. You're going to be close to 500 points. That's an army. That could be a cool little stream for us to put together and showcase to you guys. And like I said, the important part for me is we start to better tell the story of these squads, the story of these units, and how they're developing and what they're doing and their heroic deeds, which I think was kind of the intention for Crusade, but there's so much bookkeeping in Crusade. And I also think it's kind of the intention for Kill Team. But the problem is with Kill Team is I think people in Kill Team die too quickly. So I actually feel like this is wildly exciting as a rules-based development, let alone the narrative-based development. So let's talk about the narrative, okay? Book 1 is Abaddon. So this isn't the 14th Black Crusade, but Abaddon is up to his old tricks. Abaddon is going to cause the Imperium some more drama. That is something that always excites me. Again, I hope that whoever he's causing drama isn't just normally, as they normally are, protected by their plot armor, and Abaddon fails, and everyone goes, oh, he failed 14 times. Brilliant. That's so new and original. Thanks. I actually want Abaddon to see some success. In fact, if we think about it, Abaddon has seen a ton of success. It's just the way that loyalists like to troll us Chaos fans. Book 2 then introduces Angron. So I would imagine that the Book 2 will come hand in hand with the model release for Angron and probably some of the World Eaters releases. That also excites me. Bring another Demon Primarch back. I've always said this as well. I'm mildly surprised that we're seeing a third Demon Primarch before we see another Loyalist Primarch. But hey, I'm all about that. That's cool. I think if we're seeing Angron, at this point, we can also assume that at some point in the future, we'll probably see Fulgrim. And I can't imagine that we'll leave the Imperium with just Guilliman. So I'd imagine we will see 1 or 2 Primarchs returning for Loyalists in the future. This is this is an aside, but kind of relevant, right? Book 3, we've got Vashtor. Now, look at this, right? Abaddon's a major character. He's not a new release, but he's a major character. I assume Book 1 is setting up the narrative for the rest of the series, okay? Book 2 is Angron, new character, new model. Book 3 is Vashtor, this new Dark Mechanicum type individual, new model, right? Book 4 is Xenos and Redacted. 2 reasons for that. It's not as exciting, so they don't want it to end on a low, or it's just as exciting, we're going to get a new model for Book 4. And I've been thinking about this. I'm not sure where this is going to go. There's a couple of interesting ways they could go with it. So, we know apparently that Angron's introduction comes into the Armageddon system. Right, Armageddon's been worn for ages anyway. Now Angron comes in and fucks it up as well. So there's a possibility that Armageddon could involve orcs. It could be a Ghazghkull type narrative plot. It could be another orc character, a new name character. Who knows? But something orc related it could be. But then I was thinking about what else would be super interesting Xenos releases and super interesting Xenos things to see happen. There's a few things they could do. I keep coming back to Vect. At the moment, I keep coming back to Absurdial Vect. If you think about dark technologies with Vashtor, Demon Primarch, Angron, etc., I just feel like Vect sort of fits at the moment. Maybe I'm miles off the mark, but I can't see who else, narratively, if we were to assume a named character was going to get a decent release that's Xenos-based, who else it could or would be. Possibly Farsight, maybe Trazen, probably neither. I just keep coming back to Vect for some reason. I don't know why. It's just a gut instinct right now. I'd love to know what you guys think. I think the other problem with Vect is is that I'm also currently massively on an elf hype right now, and I'm actually building and painting Eldar models, and I don't think I've ever done so much actual hobby on my tabletop. In the last 2 or 3 days, I've done more hobby on my tabletop than I've probably done in the last 2 or 3 months. Not been feeling the love of actually doing much in the way of actual hobbying, and I've got the bug again, and that's possibly why I'm going down the elf-based route, right? So, there's a few things to talk about tonight. There's a few things I want to hear from you individuals in chat right now. I want to hear, A, how do you want Arks of Omen to play as a rule set? That's something that I'm very interested in. I like the idea of it being a kill team kind of system, but using squads where we can follow the narrative like Crusade, but without quite so much bookkeeping and requisition points, etc. I want that kind of hybrid. Match play type rules, match play type missions, but where we can follow a narrative, tell a story, and we're not drowning in giant laser cannons that ignore invulnerable saves and dreadnoughts that reduce damage, etc, etc, etc. Okay? So, that's where I am. What do you guys think? Narratively, that's the first thing I want to know from Arks of Omen for you guys. Secondly, what I want to know narratively is Xenos. What do you think? Which direction will you go? Are we going to get a new faction? Are we going to get a new named character release? Or is it going to be a disappointment? And it's just going to be something for some Xenos faction to be included in the narrative. That's the 2 things I want to know. I've turned Super Chat bot back on. And I have updated the 2 things that have happened so far. So first of all, big shout out to Captain Mellerings, who right at the start of the stream sniped a grey name and got himself a wild Kai Burgess, who is also a legend. Thank you, Ben. You're a hero. Thank you so much. If you are a grey name, if you are a non-member and you're in chat, ! Snipe me, all one word, and maybe your prayers will be answered. Okay? Then, for I don't know how many times this week, I get to say, thanks for the poo, James. Thanks for the poo. At the moment, James and
Kai.
John De Silva just super chat poos all the time, just so I say thanks for the poo.
I think Kai did one.
Last night, Brom said thanks for the poo. We're all saying it now. It's yeah.
See, that's the first way to check your health. Apparently, is your poo. Your poo cannot lie.
Of course. So what do you guys think? Tell me what you think. Thank you to everybody, by the way, who's joined us. Welcome everybody to the stream if you're new here, because I've seen that we've jumped up to a large number of people. 210 people watching, 63 likes. We can push that up. You can do that, right? We do that for the algorithm gods. Maybe that's the new Xenos faction, right? A Vector release would be awesome, says Phil. I saw someone say, Alistair C, £100 on it being a new Farsight. That's interesting. What makes you go down that route? What makes you think Farsight? I want a not-so-killy 40k. I want combats to take 2 turns, says Polychrome28. I'd love that. Not quite so killy. Not quite as less killy as bolt action, but not quite so killy. I'm all about that. I'm all about that life. Cheers, November 3rd, 2022. The slaves start to rise again. The army set includes 40 new miniatures and a demon prince. Is that November 3rd? Demon prince. It's already out. Okay. Rimney, thank you so much for gifting 5 memberships. You legend. They've all been snaffled up immediately. We did get someone who ! Sniped me, and I don't know if they got. Who ! LDZ did ! And he didn't. Oh no, he didn't get one. Poor man. Poor man. Chris, thank you for the heart. John, thank you for the poo. This is it now.
Well, when you gotta go, you gotta go.
Yeah. I might get a button on my stream deck, so when anyone does that, just press it and a big poo comes on the screen. An actual graphical human poo. Then they'll stop doing it, won't they?
No, don't.
Mike Jackson, thank you for gifting 5 more memberships as well. You hero. We love you. We love you people that gift memberships. If you do get gifted a membership, please make sure you use it. So ! Discord in the chat. Come and join us in the Great Hall. It's full of beautiful, wonderful heroes. So come and join us in there. Also, you're gifted at Skald tier, which means you also now get access to all of our members-only content that happens every single Tuesday. So you can get to go and watch the stuff back. Although they are live stream games, they're not so great watching back. They're not terrible, but they're not so great. They're better off if you catch them live, so you can chat to us, beautiful people. And if you do that, they're on Tuesdays. And by being a member, you can jump in, watch the chat, and talk to us live. And the bonus with members streams is there's less people, so you can ask questions without having to be a super chat, and you might get an answer, which is really nice, actually, for the members. So big shout out to you people gifting memberships. It's super important. You're giving someone else a try, a peek behind the curtain, which I really appreciate. So thank you so much. And everyone who's been gifted one should also say thank you so much. Oh, fuck it. I just did the maths, John. They're all going to go as well, aren't they? So I need someone now to pick a new goal. Actually, I need John McCardle to pick us a new goal now. All right. Thank you, John. You're a hero. Ryan got to snipe me. If you don't get a membership now and you've clicked snipe me, then you give up because you're probably not getting one, right? Thank you, John, you hero. Joe Gore, something like Star Wars Legion or Firefight would be an excellent rule set for this, I think. Hybrid stepping stone between Kill Team and 40k would be perfect. Yeah, I agree.
I'd want to see Vashta as the new 5th Chaos God of Technology, as he is not Dark Mechanicum but a Chaos entity that feeds off technology.
Yeah, I would like him to be... So I get what you're saying, Keith. You're right. I'd like to see him be the gateway into Dark Mechanicum, though. I'd like him to be the setup for Dark Mechanicum, right? Potentially, or yeah, I think that would be reasonable. That he's the setup for Dark Mech in the future, which I kind of was hoping was where Book 4 was going to go, but it says Xenos, and Dark Mech clearly aren't Xenos. So then I think to myself, but it would actually be nice if there was a Book 5 and a Book 6 and a Book 7. I'd actually really like this to lead into 10th edition. Hang on.
Mushroom, I want dreads and tanks in air, but they get stuck. Jetpack troops take damage for hitting walls and scenery, but I think that's the shrooms talking.
I like the fact that it started with a mushroom. Thanks, Ben. You're a hero. So I'd like Arks of Omen to lead into 10th edition. I'd actually really like Wild Eaters to coincide with the release of 10th edition, to be honest with you, but I can't see that happening. So I'd like them to lead into 10th edition. I'd like the Arks of Omen to continue. I wouldn't be against every 6 months that we get a new competitive book, a new Warzone. We also get a new arc. And I feel like 500-point Arks of Omen battles, which are boarding actions, which are just infantry, is a great. This is one of the reasons why I'm so excited. I'm conscious that James is about to come through here. Is
either a new Farsight model with updated rules, a Ghost Keel character, or a new Vect model, but him as a Talos, not the party boat he used to be.
Party boat Vect, I'm all about. Here's what I think Arks of Omen. Here's what I really think Arks of Omen is such a great idea if they get it right. Okay, what does it do for everybody who wants to play 40k? Potentially wildly increases accessibility. As long as I don't layer tons of complex rules on top of tons of complex rules, I don't go down the Crusade route. 500-point battles that don't need big models and just need infantry squads, much easier for people to get into the hobby. It's a gateway drug. They've gone, Kill Team used to be a gateway drug into 40k, maybe not so much.
So the new model out soon is the true Omnisire?
Yes, Master Will, absolutely. It's not quite the gateway drug anymore, because Kill Team's rule set's so differently now. It's kind of its own standalone thing, which is cool. But even then, you've got Kill Team as a stepping stone is one unit of intercessors, for sake of argument, right? And then you've got 40k, which is 2,000 points. We have nothing in between. They kind of tried it with Incursion before you go to Strike First. I don't know anyone who plays Incursion, really. Tell me, do any of you out there actually play Incursion? Because we haven't. You could scale up through Crusade, because Crusade, you're encouraged to starting at smaller missions.
Uncle Liam, how would jump infantry units be affected with Arks of Omen rules?
I don't know. That's the problem. Until I get my hands on it, let's see if it gives us anything. It just says that there's no room for bulky monsters and war machines, nor for burning rubber down tight corridors or taking to the skies in cramped hallways. Taking to the skies in cramped hallways. Now, we can assume that means we're going to get no planes in corridors, right? Makes sense. But that seems to allude to anything that can fly. So no jump packs. Although I kind of love the idea of a lunatic in a hallway seeing the enemy down the end and just hitting the button and letting the jetpack take him. I kind of love that idea, right? Lean forward, press the button, go. Anyway, what we don't have currently is we don't really have a stepping stone, in my opinion, between Kill Team and 2,000-point Strike Force missions. Boarding actions, they've categorically stated, is at 500 points, right? So for me, this is going to work as the perfect stepping stone. You imagine Kill Team is your very first foray into model collecting because you need one box of models. Then you go boarding actions, where you increase that one box of models to an army of 500 points, which is just infantry, super easy, no complex vehicle rules, none of that crap, super easy infantry. And then you step up to big boy 40k with 2,000 points by adding in your tanks, your dreadnoughts, your flyers, etc. Like, I feel like that's a real strong potential now. And then you've got to Apocalypse, obviously, and you can play Apocalypse. And if you want to play Apocalypse, then you want to get the DZ Apocalypse rules at Winter's rate because they're just better than the 40k ones that currently exist. But then you get to play with super big toys like Titans and stuff. I dread to think how many people have emailed us at DZ for a copy of our rules. I wish we could sell them. If we could sell the DZ Apocalypse rules, we would have made a fucking fortune, the amount of people that have used them. It's mad. But we can't. We're not allowed to sell them, so we have to give them to you for free. And I can't remember which email address you have to email. But yeah. But then you've got layered 40k, right? And I feel like, again, I'm gonna keep saying this. If they don't overcomplicate the rule set for Arks of Omen and for boarding actions, I would like them to scale it back a little bit. And if they do that, it's a beautiful stepping stone. It's a beautiful stepping stone from nothing to Kill Team to Arks of Omen to 40k to Apocalypse. I think that's beautiful. I think that's perfect. And I'm so hopeful for it because I was a bit mardy on Sunday about World Eaters. And the other thing as well is, again, if they scale the rules back a little bit and they make it simple as it's on a Space Hulk or something similar, it's also easy to get kids involved, I think. Like you need, like I said, Space Marines, right? You need 5 units, 4 units, 20 blokes. Much easier, I think, to get a 12, 13, 14-year-old involved at that level than here's 2,000 points, go and build and paint it all. It just makes more sense to me, I think. Right? Where are we? Agree about the accessibility thing completely. Hopefully boarding action is another route to get people to 40k. Phil, completely agree with you. Problem with Arks as a gateway is that it's so late into the edition. Well, I mean, it starts next month for one of 4 books. We can assume they're probably not going to release every single month. I can assume this is going to run into 10th edition. So though you're right about this, as long as it works with the 10th edition rule set, I cannot imagine, well, I say I cannot imagine, but they have done this before. I can't imagine, considering they've said the first 3 books of a number in the series, that we're only going to see 3 to 4 books. And if that's the case, I can't imagine they'll have written it on a 9th edition rule set, which will then be invalidated by a 10th edition rule set. I can only imagine that if 10th is coming next year, they have written this with it in mind. Saying that, it's Games Workshop, and they've been known to get this sort of thing wrong in the past. But I'm gonna stay positive tonight, right? I'm going to stay positive. Look, Vex says to Big Bad Peter Gaming, they take a wound from hitting their head on the roof. For jetpikes, I love it. My neighbour's dog plays Incursion, says QAB. Someone does then. I frequently play 1,000 to 1,500 point games with people at my LGS. Oh, that's interesting. I do because I don't usually have time to play a full game. See, I am very conscious we live in this little content bubble, right? Why is there no toaster emoji? I don't know. In the Night Lord's books, they are told to crawl and almost leap down the hallways. Really? I haven't. Right. I'm going to own up to something now, chat. I haven't read the Night Lord's books. And I keep being told I should because they're amazing. The game mode is made for Salamander, says Yestin. Yeah, I agree with you. Had a girlfriend who was a clown. When we made love, she had horns in places that I can't explain. Thanks, Stuart. Thanks. Terminators for days for me sounds awesome, says Kai. Yeah, but that then gives you the Space Hulk feel as well, right? Of Terminators stomping down the corridors of heavy flamers, obliterating gene sealers. It's just cool. I'm all about this. Why can't you sell them? So it's not our IP. So because the Apocalypse rules is based on a different company's our IP, we then can't legitimately sell them because the money that we're selling based on their rules and their models and their rule set would essentially be theirs, right? So, yeah. Not going to happen. I could imagine a group of Salamander aggressors and Terminators working their way down the halls, torching and crushing everything. Yeah, it sounds awesome, right? You can start with just a combat patrol, says Andy Lee. Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to boarding actions. Think it'll be really good. So, I haven't yet. Okay, here's an interesting question. Who out of you are not looking forward to boarding actions? Is there anyone who thinks it sounds bad to you? Because so far, I have not heard a single person say a negative word about it, which is very strange in the hobby community. So is there anyone out there in chat who isn't looking forward to it? We're not going to ridicule you. Do you want to know why you're not looking forward to it? Like, if there's a reason. I wouldn't be surprised if boarding actions was 10th version of Combat Patrol. That's interesting. Space Hulk was the greatest. I miss it, says Rimney. Space Hulk for days, says Kai. Yeah, my LGS plays 1,500 points because a lot of the group are new or can't stick with one faction long enough to collect 2,000 points. We've all been there, and also the games run faster. Yeah, it's exactly. That's what we need back. Space Hulk. I miss Space Hulk. Ben says me. Does that mean you're not excited, Ben? The Fist Battleforce box looks more interesting now. Yeah, absolutely it does, Stephen. Apart from the fact it's got a named character in it, which Rimley says, I think it sounds perfect. We're all getting high on the GW supplies as Carl Moore. Yeah. If Raw Mail are striking tomorrow and Friday, do you think that will affect Cadian box sets arriving on time? I hope not. I hope not. It's a beautiful box. !order in chat. If you want to pick up your Cadian box from Element Games, if you order it now, fingers crossed you'll still get it by the weekend, right? If it's infantry only, does that mean we could have a squad of Cadians rolling a bombast field gun down the corridor? That would be great, though, wouldn't it? See, then you could avoid that by banning heavy support, I guess, but then you miss out on things like Eradicators and stuff, which I think Eradicators in boarding action would be fucking amazing. Maybe too strong. Maybe too strong. Thomas says, I've not heard of it. The idea is awesome, but it's for Games Workshop to mess up, to be honest, says Kai. I agree. I'm skeptical. Focus on troops and elites. So just a bigger fire team game then? Possible. I think it's because it's probably more like a Space Hulk thing, plus being a smaller infantry type of game, says Rich Marie. I'm not for it, says LDZ. Warhammer 40k is not built for that small scale. Interesting. Okay. Sounds ideal to me. Haven't played in like 25 years. This sounds like an easy way to get to playing again. That's what I think, Jay. I think stepping stone. So I get what you're saying, LDZ. Don't necessarily disagree with you. But I think that as a gateway into bigger scale 40k, it could be pretty cool. It's a new city fight pretty much, isn't it? I'm not sure. Again, I don't know the rules. So I'm guessing based on a page of contents and a small few paragraphs shared on the website.
I think Book 4 is hiding in plain sight. Redacted is bringing the Inquisition back to 40k at the 500 pints level. The only one not looking forward to boarding actions is the Point Man.
The thing is, though, Neil, so thanks for the donation, man. You're a hero. The thing is that it specifically says Xenos. Although it would be cool if it was just standard Xenos, but it did bring in a load of Inquisition models and an Inquisition Codex. That would be cool. I'll give you that one. That could be a real sneaky way of releasing that as well, right? Imagine if it was Ordo Xenos, new Ordo Xenos models. That'd be fucking amazing. I think it sounds like one of those things that will be dropped pretty quickly, says Ben, and not properly tested or thought out to fly in combat in AOS. So as with anything they release, it needs proper support, you're right. Titans Adrian was down on AOO only being 500 points. Well, I guess it depends on whether you can scale it. So it says in the article there's a standalone kill team train set coming out, right? And I'd assume that means if you buy... Please do this way, GW. Please don't do this a different way. I assume it means if you buy one set of that terrain, you'll have enough for boarding actions. So if you've got a 44x60 table like us, maybe, just maybe, you can buy 2 sets of it and play 1,000 points. That'd be nice. Maybe Arks of Omen Book 2 is 750 points. Maybe Arks of Omen Book 3 is 1,000 points. And the reason why I'm saying that is because Book 2, Angron, is in the book. So logically, Book 2, Angron's in the book. It wouldn't make sense that he's in a boarding action book that doesn't allow monsters. Right? Hear me out. So I feel like boarding actions is for Book 1 only. And I'm guessing. Only because Book 2 has Angron. Book 3 has something that talks about demon engines and machines. So for me, if you're going to progress the narrative with demon engines and machines and a demon Primarch, you're probably not going to stick to 500 points of boarding actions aboard a ship. Logically. I know it's very dangerous adhering logic to GW and 40k. I know you're all going to call me mad. How about if Book 1 was 500 points, Book 2 1,000, Book 3 1,500, Book 4 2,000? For sake of argument, right? I'm just guessing. How about that? That could work. But you couldn't play Abaddon either, realistically. Well, Abaddon's 300 points. Abaddon and some Chaos Space Marines, says you're 500 points. Done. Right? You've got a unit of troops, and I think it'd be Chaos as well. Are you thinking G-dubs will be logical? Well, I know, like I said, Dave, I know it's dangerous saying these things, right? Deep in Space Hulk millennia, the Primaris Terminators breached the Space Hulk, finding a buzzing of chain fists as your Red Butchers. Fuck off, Kai, in your Red Butchers chat. You're just trying to make me feel... Why are you trying to make me feel bad, Kai? Why are you doing that? Oh, I've got Kai's address finally to send these 10 dice to.
Okay, cool.
Remind me, because I'll forget. Logic and GW is like oil and water. That's some hard to argue logic right there, says Dave Morris. Thanks, mate. Look at that. I feel proud of that. There's a whole series of kill team boxes to come, and GW said they'd all have Space Hulk style terrain. That's interesting as well, isn't it? I just feel like I feel like if they don't scale it from book 1 to book 4, considering Demon Primarch narrative and Demon Engine narrative, I feel like that's a real missed opportunity. Don't you? I don't think it's staying at 500-point boarding actions. I think it's 500-point boarding actions for book 1. That's my logic. I've been wrong before. So don't kill me, chat, if I'm wrong again, right? Fully agree and hoping that GW changes their ways in our favour. Not holding my breath, though, says Canon. What are you replying to? They seem to be quite mercenary with rule stats like this. If it does well, I think they'll give it support. But we'll see if it has a massive amount of potential. Yeah, I agree. Look at those eyes. Sorry. Don't. I'm very sad about Red Butchers. Increasing table size in line with points and books. Each new set maybe combines to make a moderate army. Sounds like a very GW thing to do. But I don't think that's in a negative way either, James. Right? If you bought book 1 and you bought the first terrain set, which is the kill team terrain set, and then you bought book 2 and there's a bolt on terrain set, and you bought book 3 and there's a bolt on terrain set, like I feel that's a really cool way of progressing narrative and selling things at the same time and having people stage releases for people to buy and collect and build. And I think that's really good. I've slammed them about the World Eaters release, and I'm not going to change my mind on that one. You know, I've slammed them about other things in the past as well. This is something I'm actually really positive for, but I'm positive for it in the context of applying my logic for growing through point sizes and battle sizes through Arks of Omen. And again, I also would categorically, I would like book 1, 2, 3, 4 to come out within the space of, say, 8 months, right? So December, February, April, June, that's your 4 books. And then roll into a 6-monthly cycle, much like Warzone Nephilim, but that's not for competitive players, it's for narrative players. Like, that would be really amazing. Hey, narrative players, guess what? You're not stuck with the same way of playing for 12 months. So, I'll give you some reasoning behind this, right? At the start of the year, we had Warzone Nachmund, okay? At the start of the year for competitive play with 6 bespoke Warzone Nachmund missions for Strike Force. Now, what they did at the same time, which I was wildly positive about, was they released Tempest of War. And Tempest of War, if you watch the channel, you will know is the way we play 40k here in the studio. We basically play Tempest of War, or we play custom narrative. We played custom narrative once. The guys are setting up other potential custom narratives for when they boot me out the studio for a week when Luce decides to go on holiday. But we only have played Tempest of War because I feel like Warzone Nachmund and Warzone Nephilim is dull television. Now, we have spoke about, amongst the team, every now and again, chucking in a Warzone Nephilim or a Warzone Nachmund mission and going ham and playing tough lists every once in a blue moon, because I think it'd be cool to show you guys that we've got some teeth and we can actually play. But on the whole, I think it's relatively dull television. Hence we play Tempest. So that was the start of the year. Cool. Halfway through the year, because the war zones now change every 6 months to refresh the tournament scene, to tweak secondaries, etc., they brought out Warzone Nephilim. Wasn't a bad release. There's a couple of changes in it that I don't like. For example, changes to command points. Nonetheless, Warzone Nephilim, some tweaks to rules, changing all the secondaries up, changing faction-specific secondaries, 6 new missions, I think at least, for match play. So, throughout the space of 2022, we've had a minimum of 12 new missions for match play. We've had the secondaries tweaked twice. We've had core rules tweaked twice. We get balanced data slates every 3 months. Every quarter we get a balanced data slate that updates rules and keeps things fresh for match play players and balances the armies and brings some up and some down to try and make it fairer. So across 12 months, there has been a ton of time, attention, and effort that has gone into making the tournament-based experience for the tournament-based player a nicer place to be. Not knocking them for it. Not knocking them for this at all. It's exactly what they should be doing if they want to support tournament play. 100% behind that. Us more casual stroke narrative players have got the same open war missions that we had at the very start. We've got the same crusade system that we had in the start, just some faction specific stuff coming out and a couple of little narrative books dropped here and there. And we've got Tempest. it's kind of like narrative players, casual players, or the people that I like to call the fucking majority, are kind of forgotten about because of the focus on tournament. So what I'm hoping with Arks of Omen is we're going to start to see a frequent and regular release that gives narrative, casual gamers more variety. So there's 9 missions in book 1, okay, for boarding actions. If they scale, book 2's 1,000, book 3's 1,500, book 4's 2,000, and at the same time as scaling, they're releasing the same number of new missions, and let's say they release these books over 12 months, only 12 months, right? That would mean that in 12 months, there's 36 new missions for casual players across 4 different point sizes, potentially, if they follow my logic. Right? That's much better support for the casual gaming scene or the narrative gaming scene, in my opinion. And that's why I feel like there's been this gap here for ages, and I feel like they can't have not noticed the gap. They must have noticed the gap in the void for casual narrative standard gamers, people that don't want to play Warzone Nephilim and don't want to play competitively. They must have felt it. They must know it's there. People like me, people like Winters have gone on about it enough that this gap exists. Not just us either. There's other people that have talked about it a little bit. I think we talked about it a bit with Titans. I think Hellstorm's talked about it a bit. There's just this void here. People that aren't super hyped on just playing Warzone Nephilim or Warzone Nakman the whole time. And so I feel like they must have Games Workshop must know that gap exists. I would argue that the release of Warzone Tempest is an indication that they know that gap exists. But I feel like that's a plaster on a leak that's starting to come through again because Warzone Nephilim is getting a little tired, I feel. I'm still enjoying it, but it's not quite as exciting now because we kind of know what all the secondary cards are and it's kind of got a bit dull. It's my theory anyway. I forget new players in. I think this is cool, but then they do have to buy another set of books that doesn't sit well. Yeah, I get that. Because you're not running your own cards for Tempest. Possibly Voodoo Fairy. Yeah, I mean, we absolutely could, right? We could absolutely write our own cards and stuff. I'm very conscious of doing things like house ruling, etc. Because if you do a lot of house ruling, whether that's particular rules for units, particular rules for armies, whether that's even around things like Tempest cards, there will come a point where you're now no longer playing the game that Games Workshop has released, and certain people at that point won't want to watch the content anymore. So there's a balancing act there about how much do we make our own rules up to freshen the content up, and how much do we make sure we're playing the game that people are expecting to watch when they tune into the channel, so we can retain the audience and bring new people in to hit things like and subscribe buttons, right? Super important for us. It's a balancing act. But I'm not necessarily against the idea of writing our own cards for Tempest. Something we possibly could do. But how many games do casual players play in a year? Do they need as much variety as tournament players? That answer, Polychrome, is how long's a piece of string. I know casual players who will play 1 game every 2 months. And I know casual players who will play 3 to 6 games a month. I know casual players who will meet up once a week every week and play at least 1 game, right? And they're playing 4 games. They're playing 52 games a year. So it's a weird space. It's a weird one to try and answer, but I feel like we need at least more than just Tempest in 12 months in order to keep us interested and keep us having fun with our toys, right? Ultimately. Didn't they say in a video about this that these Arks books would be dropping about every 6 weeks? I'm super nervous about that pace. 6 weeks does seem quick. I just said 2 months, but we were playtesters, right? And I've not seen any of these things whatsoever, so I'm nervous as well. Dating is just wondering how one could be single, then finding out why repeatedly. Stuart, you trying silly jokes like that's the other lunatic who starts off at the beginning of the stream with his crazy jokes. I really hope these things like mission packs, whether competitive or narrative, are no longer sold as part of books, which will be invalidated in 6 months. I agree. 100% I agree. Balanced Data Slate have clearly shown they are fully capable of releasing this stuff online or Tempest with low upkeep cards and not a whole book. Again, agree. What I also found, and I didn't notice this till yesterday, I logged into the Warhammer 40k app for something Eldar related when I was playing Harlequins yesterday, and I've seen that they've actually put the FAQ on the app in the army section now. I mean, didn't seem like that was a hard fix on the app, but they've actually done it. So I would really, especially with the upcoming release of 10th edition, again, I would really love a hard push towards digital. What I really want, though, is I want people to have the option. Here's where I would go, right? Off topic ever so slightly. Here's where I would go, right? You can buy a physical book, like a codex, like a limited edition codex that Brom ripped, right? You could buy a book and it will give you a code for the app like they currently do. I'm fine with that, right? And I'm fine with the prices staying the same. What's a codex now? 35? Something like that, right? I feel like if they did that, that's fine, right? With a digital version included. I would also like them to offer you the opportunity to buy just a digital edition. They used to do this. 7th edition, they actually did this. You could go onto iBooks in 7th edition, and you could buy you could buy everything, I believe. You could buy codexes, etc. They were interactive as well. You could open your codex, it would give you a keyword, you'd press the keyword, and it'd tell you, like, it was good product back then, and you could buy them separately. Now, they made the mistake, in my opinion, back then, of charging those digital books at the same price they charged a physical book as, which I feel like is a bit of a shitty way of doing things. So let's say they continue to charge a codex at £30. I think the digital one should be £15 or £20 because you don't actually have to provide me with a physical copy. There's no warehousing, there's no shipping, there's no printing costs. You're just making a digital version, right? So I would like to see a digital version on its own as an order if you would like to. So you could just buy all your codexes on an app, on an iPad, or on a tablet of your choice, Samsung, or whatever. But you could also choose to buy the book because I'm a person who likes a physical book. I like to flick through it. Even to this day, despite the fact that FAQs, etc. means that this isn't actually valid, there's a lot of stuff in this that's invalid, I still like to flick through and look at a book. I'm a fan of it, right? I'm a particular fan of cheese jokes that are Brie-based but not Red Leicester and Manhurst standards. What if they scale down 140k for 10th edition and this is the best beta? What if in 10th the max battle size and balance is scaled to 1500 points? I'm not against it. LD, I'm not against it if things are less killy. Yeah, I'm not against 1500 points. I mean, 2000. I remember I used to play a lot of 1750, then it was 1850, and it was kind of all over the place. And I just don't know, 2,000 points is fine at the moment, but I think if you're going to scale it back to 1,500 and keep units at the same roughly points cost, you've got less models and less units, you kind of need to make units less killy. So we did a few games with things like Votan and etc. at 1,500 points and 1,250 points and stuff. And it's just losing an asset at that points level hurts a lot more, and things are just as killy. So you've got the same amount of chance as losing said asset. If you pull the killiness back a little bit, and it's the grim, dark, far future. I don't want to pull back the killiness all the way back, but if you pull back the killiness a little bit and then reduce the point size, I'm okay with it. I would love to see my units, my models, my heroes surviving a lot longer than they currently do. Here's the other thing. I'm a massive fan of Hero Hammer. I like Hero Hammer. I like the story of individual heroes, not even necessarily named characters. It doesn't have to be an Abaddon. It doesn't have to be a Be'lakor. It doesn't have to be a Avatar. But I like the stories of characters, and I would like to see characters live a bit longer and not just get one-shotted all the time, personally. But hey, I can't listen to anybody using the word arcs without assuming they simply aren't capable of saying ask. Mechanical Paul, I'm a 35, nearly 36-year-old man. Trust me, I'm saying arcs, not ask. Right? You can save movies and music for not having an internet connection. The tech is there. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now you're all talking about cheese. Brilliant. Digital should be a lot easier to get updates out to people without invalidating someone's purchase. That's the big thing, Carl, for me. So if you buy a book which gives you a free digital, or you can buy digital separately, everybody will have access to something that's able to be updated. I should have added that caveat when I was talking about it previously, right? It needs to be something that is then frequently and updated well as well. Frequently updated and updated well. That's the key for me. Okay, give everyone extra wounds, says John Hook, at least, right? I'd like to be able to get rules-only books just so that it's easy to manage, yeah. I like that as well.
Beer fun, cheers.
Oh, Wrath of Constantine, you hero. Thank you so much. Beer fun, that's the best kind of super chat. And we're still in November as well, actually. So 10% of our Super Chat revenue in November is going to Royal British Legion, which is a charity in the UK that helps veterans, UK Forces veterans and their families, etc. So thank you for that, mate. You're a hero. I will put some of it towards beer, some of it towards Taxman, some of it towards Royal British Legion. Give an infantry model 10 wounds, they'll get to round 2. Maybe. You don't need to remove print books, but having the rule in a book format does cause a fair amount of issues. It does. So let's make sure people have... The other thing is, this is the other thing, right? People go, rules should be digital. And what they're missing is rules are digital. In the back of every single codex that exists in 9th edition, in the back of every single codex is a little piece here, right, that gives you a digital code that you can put into the Warhammer app. So Games Workshop have already made the rules digital. But the app was shit. It didn't work. It was often incorrect. And it wasn't updated well. So everyone who goes, they should make the rules digital. They have. They did it. They just didn't do it well. That's the problem. So for 10th edition, what they need to do is do it well. And everyone who goes, they should make the rules digital, would maybe be a little bit more accepting of the fact that it is actually already digital. This is the thing that makes me laugh. Everyone who says rules should be digital, they already are. Every book comes with a code. Their rules are already digital. You should have never been in a position where you needed your codex. This was the other problem, right? You could buy your codex, you could put the digital code in, you could get your rules on your app. You couldn't, if you went to, there was occasions where you could go to an event, for example, and you'd have your app with your code in, and you wouldn't actually have all of the information that you needed. There's a couple, I think Winters and Sultan did I think they did videos on Tau with the app originally, where Sultan was trying to play Tau just using the app and not using the codex, and it didn't have all the rules he needed. Like, I didn't think it gave him anything for drones, for example, or something like that. I can't remember. So they've done digital. They just need to do it less shit, basically. You're right over there?
Yep. I got sucked into a Facebook Reels hole.
Oh, we've all been there. Don't you worry.
I just want to come off the internet altogether. I hate
It makes this job hard.
Yeah, but we're up for a challenge.
We could stream to no one, babe, I guess.
We like a challenge. God loves a
What
trial.
we'll do, if you want to come off the internet, what we'll do is we'll remove the office window and we'll just sit at the window like a live TV show, and passers-by can chuck us money. We can essentially busk from our living room.
I was going to say, there's a word for that.
Right, we can essentially busk. I would love for people to bring out custom heroes and actually be able to have them be viable. This Dakota, right? Here's the thing. My gut instinct almost always when I'm building army lists and stuff like that, especially for the channel, is to not take named characters. So event play and tournament play, named characters is fine because they often give you the best set of rules. But my gut instinct for narrative armies is to not take named characters because I like the idea of creating my own character. So Malok, who is the Chaos Lord in charge of the Eternal Slaughter that we used on the channel, built his name through various games against Winters, games on Deployment Zone, games on our channel, the Champion of Chaos campaign that we did. And he really developed his own character, his own story, because I made a character. He wasn't as good as Khan. He wasn't as good as other characters in the book, but I like that. I think that named characters should unlock abilities that are bespoke to those named characters because they're named characters. But I want you to have to make a choice. I don't want it to be I'm obviously taking Abaddon because he's just that good. I want to get rid of that altogether. And I want it to... Lord Solar, there's an argument to be said that for Lord Solar for Astra Militarum, he's an auto pick. And I want that to go away. I want auto picks to never be a thing. And I want you to go, well, I could take Abaddon, but I also could take this Chaos Lord who can do this, this, and this that Abaddon can't do. So which of those things is more valuable for me? Which of those things do I want? And narratively speaking, I like the idea of going down the route of not using named characters at all. I just think for a narrative, it's just cooler to develop your own characters, develop your own Farseer, your own Chaos Lord, your own Orc Warboss, and tell his narrative. I'm thinking about in the new year, working with the team to push narrative for our army. So Joe's got his Raven Guard and he's got Shrike, fine. And I've got my World Eaters and I've got Khan and Brom's got his Ultramarines and he's got Gullyman and Paddy's got his Thousand Sons and he's got Araman. But how cool would it be if in the new year we each picked a couple of characters, warlords, for our armies that I've already have or that we build and paint, specifically for the factions that we play, that aren't named characters, but someone who we use frequently, so you guys could potentially get invested in the development of their story. I think that'd be cool. I think it would be cool. I could be talking out my arse. It could be impossible. You could be like, shut up. We don't care. We just want to see you play fucking 40k. Don't care about the characters. I just think it'd be cool. Apparently, the AOS app is excellent, so GW can do it. The AOS app is much, much, much better than the 40k app. In fact, I probably would call it excellent. You know, I've used it. I'm a person who doesn't understand fully AOS, and I have used the AOS app to look up rules and build a roster. That's how good it is. So they can do it, right? Volunteers for Battlescribe do a better job of maintaining a free product. Agree, 100%. You can't even make a unit of armigers on the app. Can you not? I need a good name for my commissar, says Dave B. Liam's a great name. My lotion bottle says to use it on areas of irritation, so I slathered it all over the customer. Got fired. I would have just covered me kids. That sounded wrong. I've just loaded the 40k app for the first time in ages. It is sat spinning on transmitting security ident for ages and not loading. Brilliant. There you go. See, still works great. Raven, hey dude, how's it going? I like my cheddar, says, we're back to talking about cheese. Name characters should be in narrative theme armies that fit certain criteria. See, I'm really torn on this one as well. So Arks of Omen is literally centered around 3 named characters, Abaddon, Angron, and this new Admech, not Admech dude, or Darkmech, not Dark, Vashtor, right? There's a little part of me that really wishes named characters were never a playable unit. So they could use the named characters to progress lore and progress narrative and tell us what's happening. And they can talk about Abaddon's 14th Crusade, and they could talk about the destruction of Cadia, and they could talk about Armageddon and Yarek's death, and they could talk about Gazkagal. But I really, really wish that this is where I would land on it right now. And I'm curious to know what you guys think. I wish named characters were never a playable unit. Now, they're not going to do this because they sell too many named characters for them not to do this. But imagine if they removed them.
Love that idea. Strike Gordon's a lie.
Thanks, Dave. But imagine if they just completely removed named characters from the game, right? They use them in the narrative. They use them to progress the narrative. There's a few things that happen here. Firstly, if they decide to kill off a major named character to progress the narrative and they're not protected by plot armor, you don't suddenly have a million nerds crying out in rage because that model that they've got suddenly is invalidated and they can't use it anymore. It's already a benefit there straight away, right? That's already better. Already amazing. You could remove a named character and you don't upset people. It also means that when you're playing your battles with your friends, you're not seeing Abaddon die 4,000 times and going, oh, he's still alive because he's Abaddon. That just doesn't happen anymore. I kind of think that it is better narratively to remove them from the game. The other thing is we have the DZ events, right? FYI, November GT has 1 ticket left.
Yeah.
So November GT for DZ has 1 ticket left. There's now an event section on the Deployment Zone website. If you go to deploymentzone.tv and click events, there's an events calendar. If you click on the event and say show details, it'll give you the player pack and the link. There's 1 ticket left for the November GT. And we've sold 10 tickets already for the December RTT, which is on the 17th of December if you can't make it to the Great Hall Gathering. Element Games, !GHG. Anyway, when we talk about these tournaments and we have 10 Chaos players turning up, there's a period of time where basically every Chaos player had Abaddon. So at the, I want to say August GT, but I might be wrong. It might have been the July GT where there's like 7 Abaddons. 7 Abaddons. This is why I think named characters should be removed. I've been to GTs before where there's been 3 Mortarians. How can you have 3 Mortarians? Right? Are they... Dog squeaking. What?
No, it's fine. She's snoring. There was a noise. Is it a tiny human or is it the dog?
Norse Monkey says they can still sell the models. Agree, they can still sell the models. I just don't want rule sets for them. It's a cool idea, but think of how many cool models there are for named characters. Again, One Shot Will. Agree. But they could still sell the models for them. Norse Monkey and One Shot Will. I feel like you need to type !! Snipe me, or one word. My Bella's getting up and making herself pancakes and cups of coffee and crawling back to bed, says Dave. He's talking to you.
I'm interested how she's having coffee and crawling back to bed. I'd be like, bing.
There was a time when I was
awake.
younger. There was a time where I could definitely drink coffee and go straight to bed.
I've never been able to do that.
I can't now. To me, Crusader games are so much fun, but I found GT games need big name characters as so much better stated than unnamed characters in a battle. I agree. Yeah, I agree. Kill off Abaddon, bring on Hero and the True War Master. Shut up, Will. Agreed, but still have most named characters for my armies. Yeah, well, they should be collectibles. You should still be able to collect them. They should still be collectibles. I agree with what Norse Monkey said. They can still sell the models. A collectible named character centerpiece that you can build and paint and put on your tabletop with your army to show it off, 100% for it. Rules for him to be played in the game, I really don't like that idea, right? 3 Mortarians facing each other, yeah, exactly. A Mortarian orgy. No, it doesn't work. Named characters yours you aren't allowed at Heresy tournaments, says Cobra. That's good. Even though they sell loads of named characters. I kind of like that. I actually do like that. Strawberry jam and cheddar sarnie, says Dave B. I don't know what I've stumbled in on, but
There's
that's...
so much cheese on here.
Brilliant.
This is bad.
Right.
Juju.
Anyway. Major rings thing, ! Roast me. That would be a good one, right? Anyway, you beautiful people, I've just realised it's already over 10 o'clock. Okay, we've talked about Arks of Omen a lot tonight. It's interesting that a lot of people are excited about it. It's good that I say it's good. I actually feel more comfortable that I've seen a few people that aren't so excited about it. Everyone being positive about it was an absolute recipe for disaster, and everyone being let down, ultimately. Okay, so I'm actually kind of pleased that there are some people that aren't that excited about Arks of Omen. I, however, am very positive about it right now. I think it's going to be a super fun way to play. You're going to say something?
A little while ago,
yeah,
someone made the comment about asks me a question. Mine is when people mix up bought and brought. And now it's gotten so mixed up that if I do say, I think you used the wrong one in that sentence, they look at me like, no, they're the same thing. And I even had a conversation with someone where I said, can you bry it? No? Then maybe you bought it with you. You didn't brought it with
let's
you.
not get into English now.
I know.
Especially the amount of Americans in the chat.
One. And then all the there, and there. Those 3.
Kai says, what's your favourite cheese? I either like an exceptionally mature cheddar, like a black bomber.
Yeah.
Or I am partial to a baked camembert.
So we have a cheese story, don't we? Where the midwife said to me when I was carrying James, no, you can't eat mold-ripened cheese.
Yeah. When
I
you're
said,
pregnant,
yeah, that's fine.
When you're pregnant, you cannot eat any mold-ripened cheese.
So I said, that's fine. I don't particularly like Stilton anyway. That's all right. And then I got home, and then it came up in conversation that I'd had a whole wheel of brie.
Yeah, a whole brie.
Didn't realise that the white stuff is mold.
Mold-ripened brie is mold-ripened cheese. Yeah. But
it's okay because it's been proven now that autism and ADHD has nothing to do with the cheese.
I hope they don't return to Hero Hammer 40k Smash Captain or whatever. 40k is about the armies and synergy of units, not one single guy killing everything. So LDZ, I agree. I don't want one single guy killing everything, but I also don't want him to die in seconds. I want your heroes to be able to be heroes, but have to work within the realms or the remit of a full army, right? That's what I want. Anyway, you beautiful people. It's now nearly 10:05. Wednesdays is an hour. You know it's an hour. Stop trying to derail me. It's only going to be an hour, right? There's a few things to mention before we disappear tonight. Thank you so much for everybody who has super chatted. Thank you. It's amazing that we get so much support. Thank you for everyone who's gifted memberships. You're all beautiful humans. I love you very, very dearly. So, a few things. Firstly, if you go to www.liamdempsey.store, our objective markers, as seen on the last 3, I think it is, battle reports so far, are now available in the web store. You can purchase them for just £12.50, and you'll get 6 beautiful objective markers. They are in, like I said, www.liamdempsey.store. Okay, dice aren't back in stock yet, just objective markers for now. We've got the first 5 or 6 sets going out tomorrow, but they are available for purchase. If you want to watch more content, specifically with New Astro Retirement Leagues of Votan, !DZTV in chat. And I'm shouting about it because today I launched a brand new homepage, which I'm very proud of. It took me a lot of time to build this homepage up. So !DZTV if you want even more content. Joe and I are thinking about how we can put a new series in from the new year. And as of Monday, on Monday, I'm doing a new evening live stream at 8 p.m. in deployment zone for you DZTV subscribers, because I was doing the Endless Cacophony podcast, spoke to Chris recently. It looks like the Endless Cacophony podcast isn't coming back to DZTV. He's just not feeling it. And I'm at the moment only putting in one battle report every other week. So we're going to put that stream in there as well. Come and hang out on that one. We'll see if DZTV can handle live streams like YouTube can. I think it should be okay. Before you disappear, make sure you hit that giant like button. If you're not already subscribed and you haven't been commenting, make sure you hit that subscribe button and then use that bell notification to make sure you don't miss a stream. But if you have hung around, all 200 of you, we know why you've hung around. There's only one reason why you hung around at the end of... Oh, and don't forget also !GHG to come and join us at the Great Hall Gathering. There are a few tickets left. But you all hang around for one thing and one thing only. She looks so proud when I do this.
Cucumbers, aubergines, and bananas are actually berries.
Bollocks.
No, it's true. And peas are... I never know how to say this. Peas are legumes. Legumes. Yeah.
A banana, an aubergine, and a cucumber is a berry.
Technically a berry.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Simon Freight says, any chance of getting DZ on YouTube? I'm glad you asked. I am currently frantically uploading 9th edition battle reports that I'm downloading from DZ and re-uploading to the DZ YouTube channel, so I can then launch DZ memberships. They're built. Everything's built. If I launch DZ now, though, Simon, there's only 10 9th edition battle reports on there so far. And there's 100... Hang on, wait. Deployment Zone has a total of content. It has a total of 108 9th edition battle reports on Deployment Zone at the moment. Okay? 108 9th edition battle reports. I've uploaded 12 to the YouTube channel. So, you know, not many to go. It used to take me ages and ages and ages to do that. It's now, but I've started doing it again the other day, and because I've got an upgraded internet system, hence I can stream in 4K. I'm now able to do 5 or 6 a day, so it's starting to speed up. But if you want it, it's coming. Okay. Berries have seeds on their outside.
So strawberries and there's another one. Technically.
Fenuk says, what about cheese?
Cheese is a very special fruit.
Ave Dominus Knox, ! GHG. Nightbot gave you a link to Element Games to buy a ticket to the Great Hall Gathering. 30 quid for a ticket. You get lunch, you don't get breakfast. You get lunch, you get dinner, you get raffle tickets, you get fun. You get to meet me. You get to meet Luce. You get to meet Paddy. That's the one everyone's really going for. You get to meet Brom's Grin. Right? What about dangleberries, Dave? Fuck off.
Oh, I don't want those.
Simon Freight says, I've watched all 108. You're a legend. Thank you so much, mate. So much. Anyway, I need to have a shower. Tomorrow night, people. Let's talk about tomorrow night very, very quickly. It's not a battle report tomorrow night because it was just going to be me and Joe again. Paddy had to pull out last minute because of work commitments. It's a shame. It is what it is. So there'll be a random live stream that'll go up at about 8 p.m. tomorrow night as well, all right? I'm going to have to go and... I don't have to. I'm going to pick up Luce and the boys from Southampton at 7. We're grabbing something to eat. So around 8 o'clock-ish, maybe 8:30, we'll go live. Keep an eye on Discord. Keep an eye on YouTube. I promise you we'll be live tomorrow night. Don't miss it. I don't know what we're going to talk about yet. God knows. Might just do like a live Discord Q&A or something. I don't know yet. I'm not sure. Haven't got a clue what we're going to do tomorrow. But check out that one. Obviously, Friday we'll return to normal scheduling with 40k After Dark, where I'll drink something cider-based, get slurry and probably get angry about something. And then the weekend is the GT. Looking forward to it, right? Cool. Anything you want to add, Luce?
We are on our last week of homeschool this year. Then we get a winter break.
Yeah. After this next week, Luce doesn't homeschool till the new year again, so she'll just be drunk on every stream. Yeah. I'll be out now. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. I love you very, very dearly. Thank you for hanging out with us on the stream. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.